gonna put me back in. Let's get straight into this. I don't subscribe to the narrative of name calling and just super, just overly bashing and disrespecting men or women. The fact of the matter is, since we're talking about canceling and the cancel culture and who shouldn't be online and who's sending out these narratives that either promote men and women to go at each other or to continue to degrade one another, it is only fair that we talk about the Cynthia G narrative and what it's all about. I see a lot of men online and they're addressing Cynthia G. Some things I agree with, some things I don't. But instead of me talking about what Cynthia G promotes online, I want you to hear from Cynthia G. Fair use. Let me say this out of fair use. I want you to hear from Cynthia G herself what she talks about and what she thinks of certain black men, or the majority of black men. Let's listen to it and let's see if this will build the relationship between black men and women. Let's see if this will build the relationship between healing and hindering. Let's get to it.
Society, because we don't live in a vacuum where there's only black men, black women, and black children. We live in this country where the majority of people in this country are not black. So who places a high amount of value on black men to the degree to where they can justify saying they're high value? And if you actually look up the definition of value, value says that you're of a high importance and worth. Who are black men of a high importance and worth to aside from black women? Who? They're not to women of no color. They're not to Asian men. They're not to Hispanic men. They're certainly not to men of no color. So who are they high value to? Who are they high value to? Exactly, nobody. So nobody really places high value on black men in society but black women, and this is why they continue to target their message to black women. I want you guys to understand why when black men need money, because they don't have intellect by and large, they don't have any skills, they're lazy, they really do.
All right, let me say this real quick. I know that there's a few men and they're like diehard supporters of Cynthia G. And I don't know if they are the men that they like her personality, they like her voice, they think she's attractive, or they're a glutton for disrespect. But it is interesting because if I am a educated black man, I am a successful black man, I'm a God-fearing black man, I pride myself on being in relationships and taking care of my children, etc., etc., etc. Why would Cynthia G's narrative, why would I support her narrative? Why would I be in support of Cynthia G's narrative? It is interesting that I'm hearing that she asks who values black men. Well, black men should value themselves. The black community should value black men. Black women should value black men. Black children should value black men. It's not, does the world value black men? It's, do you value yourself? It's about knowing your worth and making sure that you go out there and you get what you've earned. You work for what it is that you want to accomplish. So when you say who values black men, well, who values black women? If black women don't value themselves, then whose job is it to make sure that they value themselves? And that's where Derrick Jackson went wrong. He wanted to uplift women and not tell men, hey, you are just as strong and just as important and powerful as women are. But, however, there was no petition to cancel Derrick Jackson. However, he was a victim to his own rhetoric. And now that we have the Cynthia G and we have the cancel culture and with the whole Kevin Samuels, like I hear a lot of name calling and a lot of bashing and saying, well, you're not of this high value that you speak of. My thought process is your rhetoric needed? If Kevin Samuels is not needed, is your rhetoric, is your narrative that you're pushing needed? Let's continue to listen.
Want a handout. They refuse to compete with other men. So if you know that you don't really have what it takes to build on your own, who do you go to? You go to black women. Because you know that in one breath, black women have detrimentally low self-esteem and really want the validation of black men. And you know they also, because of the degradation that black men have been rigorously putting us through, there's a lot of black women who feel the need to prove they are better than the next black woman. So that's why they call it. Because you'll have black women like, oh, well, he's not going to do me like that. Oh, well, I'm different. Oh, well, he's saying this, that, and the third. But in reality, no, he just want to make some money. Kim Hills has been on YouTube forever.
Just in case y'all guys don't know, I guess Kitten Hills, she's referenced to Kevin Samuels. That's her name for him, I guess. Which is interesting. Exactly, Rodney. Rodney says, so if we cancel Kevin Samuels, do we also cancel her? And my thought process is, if you feel like all of these bad narratives exist with black men and women, and they're not doing anything to promote themselves in a better fashion, their communities, their race, and you want to cancel everybody, cool, I'm with that. But what I refuse to believe is that a woman who is educated, who uses different statistics to run her facts in regards to saying this is why I'm right, you know, and there's a lot of people who agree with that. First of all, there's a lot of hurt people that agree with that. There's a lot of vindictive people that agree with that. When you are actually in a successful relationship and you know successful people, they don't agree to the narrative that black men are lazy and that black men are this and that black men are that. You see what I'm saying? What they want to do is they want to say, how can we build? And you can't build steadily destroying. You can't bring people together steadily disrespecting and degrading. And my thought process is, when I listen to your message, to be honest with you, I really don't listen to a lot of Cynthia G. And the reason why, because she's triggering. And she's not triggering because what she's saying is true and factual. She's triggering because I don't think she believes what she's saying. One minute you say black men are using black women because they have low self-esteem. Well, my thought process is, what are you doing? What are you doing? If you feel like black women have low self-esteem, are you trying to build their self-esteem by telling them black men ain't shit? Or are you trying to build their self-esteem by saying, hey ladies, let us get in line and get ourselves together? Now that I can get behind, that I can applaud, because I believe that women should talk to women. Women should build women up and men should build men up. But that gets me to the people that I actually tagged in this video. Because it's one thing to talk about somebody versus talking to someone. Now you have some men, like I said, they're in full support of what Cynthia G says, and other men that are not in support. So I'm kind of on the fence. I'm on the fence because I believe that a negative narrative is a negative narrative, regardless of what color you are, what gender you are, what race you are. And it's so incredibly retarded and backwards to say that Kevin Samuels is an issue, but not Cynthia G. That's kind of crazy to me. Like, you would applaud a message by Cynthia G, but then say that Kevin Samuels' message is crazy. Now, I was sitting down and I said, well, let me take the last 3 videos that Kevin Samuels did. Let me look at these things or whatever. I believe that Kevin Samuels does not promote the hate that is being shown to him. I believe that Kevin Samuels it really doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a male or female, that he's going to give you a straightforward answer, and it may not be what you're comfortable with. And I think a lot of people are uncomfortable with the Kevin Samuels situation, especially if they fall into the narrative of he's talking about me. Okay, now when you listen to Cynthia G, okay, Cynthia G comes across as hurt. She comes across as a person that's been hurt either by one black man or one relationship or whatever the case may be, but somebody who has been repetitively hurt, or someone who sat down in a conversation and she never got over that conversation. So she's steadily stuck on that revolving door of vindictiveness, revolving door of bitterness, and she needs every woman to feel like her. So she encourages women to divest from black men. Why would you encourage someone of the black race to divest from another person of the black race. If you tell black women, don't work with black men, don't build with black men, that anything black man wise is bad, but any other color of men is good, is that not manipulation? Is that not manipulation? Do you teach your children, do you teach your daughters all black men ain't shit, but you teach your sons that are growing up, how do you instill in them integrity, honor? How do you instill in them family, trust, being an entrepreneur? Like, how do you instill in them what you're taking from every other black man that's alive? How do you instill in them? And then how do you add this level of every black man except your child, except your son? Because you're promoting this narrative that black men ain't shit, that black men can't be trusted, black men are not loyal, black men are not fathers, black men are not protectors and role models and providers. And I'm just curious at all of the men that applaud you, is it one of those things that she ain't talking about all men, she's just talking about some black men? Okay, well, let me help you out. Give us the examples of the men you're talking about. The names. You understand? When the news reports shit, they don't say, well, there was a shooting in Chicago and the victim was... No, they give us all the details so that we can make a sound decision for ourselves, unless you feel like people are naive. Unless you feel like you can make this statement and people will automatically say, well, it's only those black men, but not this black man. Well, how about you showcase who this black man is? Because that's what needs to be broadcast. A man that's actually living up to the standards that you're talking about. Because when you start saying black men, for some reason, everybody ain't that smart. They ain't smart enough to realize that, well, Cynthia G, she's only talking about a selective group of black men. But there are some people out there that might listen to your rhetoric and your narrative that might say, well, all black men are like this because Cynthia G, who is black, who is a black mother, says so. I'm just saying, at what point in time do we get back to a conversation where let's build together, let's trust and love and respect one another? It's like none of that is important, but what's important is pointing out what Pookie and Ray Ray doing, or the Dusties and the homosexuals are doing. But when do we get back to the people that are actually being men? When do we promote them? When do we say, hey, listen, enough talking about this negative stuff. Let's talk about this positive stuff. And that's what I'm saying. I don't understand the men that support Cynthia G. Are you using good examples of black men? Are you yourself a good example of a black man? She talking about everybody except you. Now, there's some people that say, you know what, in order to combat Cynthia G, you got to call her names, you got to disrespect her, or whatever case may be. But, you know, like I said, I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence because I don't understand how you promote canceling Kevin Samuels as if your narrative brings black men and women together. As if you are an example of what a black woman should be. I know black women that are successful, very successful, and they don't subscribe to the narrative of wearing like false hair or eyelashes or a lot of makeup. So suppose they went online and said, well, everybody that wears weave and eyelashes and a lot of makeup, they all ratchet and ghetto hoes. Would you then say, well, everybody except me? That we all not the same? Because I feel like when Cynthia G speaks, black men then have to say, well, we all not the same, and we have to prove something, versus you just saying, well, these are the men we're talking about. Because anybody can be a Pookie and a Ray Ray. Anybody could. Won't you give examples? Won't you give the stories? Because if you have all these narratives of what black men are doing, well, you should have the names and the dates and the who and the what and the wheres of these examples, instead of talking randomly. Let's get back into this.
Sniffing perfume and being the LGBTQ kitten that he is, and he ain't never made no money. He had to tap into that black female low self-esteem and need for validation in order.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me be the first black man to tell you that we love you. We love, as a black man, let me tell black women that we love you. I'm sorry there's confusion. I'm sorry you didn't get the memo. I'm sorry you ain't been checking your email, your phone cut off or something. I don't know what's happening that you ain't getting the message, but black men love you. Ladies, fellas, there are a lot of black women out there that love and respect you, and they're not pick-me's and they're not pushovers, and they don't have low self-esteem. I believe that any woman that will subscribe to a narrative that black men are only interested in running over black women and vice versa, I believe that is brainwashing. I believe that is very disrespectful to make a statement about black women having low self-esteem as if Cynthia G has this a high epitome IQ and self-esteem. And this is no shade, but my thought process is, what are you trying to accomplish with what you're doing? What are you trying to accomplish? Is it building the black community? Is it building black women? Is it building black men? Is it building black children? Or is it just talking about another man or men, period, and saying, well, I'm going to call Kevin Samuels gay. I'm going to say this. Okay. If Kevin Samuels is gay, how does that affect his message? If Cynthia G is gay, how does that change her message? Does it make it relative or does it make it irrelevant? Can you imagine going to your doctor and he's a heart surgeon, right? And you need a transplant, and they say he is the #1 person in the goddamn country. And you go to him and you find out the doctor is gay, but he's telling you how he can save you. Do you say, oh, no, you can't touch me? Your intelligence has something to do with your sexuality. So can you imagine a woman sitting online saying, well, Kevin Samuels is gay, so does that make his message null and void? Does that make what he's saying null and void? And if I was a part of the LGBTQ community plus, I would feel a certain type of way that she's saying something like that. Because when does being gay means you're not intelligent? Let's get to it. Let's go.
For him to hit the jackpot. And then he hit the jackpot, and he hit it big. He rolled the dice on black women's low self-esteem, and he won. And these very same black women are so caught up in their low self-esteem that they can't even see that this man couldn't even get himself into a successful relationship. He couldn't even help his own marriage. He couldn't even improve his own relationships with women. Now, with men, that's a different.
Cynthia, I don't know how many men you talk to, and I don't know how intelligent they are. I don't know, right? But here's my thought process. I have not met one person in my lifetime, in my 42 years of living, right, that they said that they've been in perfect relationships. I have never met somebody that is so perfect that they've never went through any trial and tribulation when it came at the extent of someone else. Some people didn't even know themselves well enough to even be in a relationship because they brought the baggage from the old relationship to the new relationship, and they expected the new person to deal with their fuck shit. They lack of self-awareness, their lack of disrespect, their promotion of disrespect. So here's my thought process. You're saying that a man had failed relationships. So how now can he tell you about your relationship? If I am a product of failed relationships, can I tell you what not to do? Cynthia, are you a product of a failed relationship? Are you married? Are you in a successful relationship right now? Can you tell people what not to do? Or are you married? Are you in a successful relationship, either with a man or a woman or whatever it is? My thought process is always the person that's pointing the finger, trying to tell everybody, hey, y'all, this person ain't shit. Look, they had a failed relationship. They not perfect, because really, in retrospect, you're saying they're not perfect. And my thought process is, whatever Kevin Samuels' message is, whether it's to men or to women or whatever case may be, if you're going to combat that or validate your point with the fact that that person is not perfect, then you're going to lose ground. We know he's not perfect because we're not perfect. We don't know no perfect people. If Cynthia G says, man, listen, are you in a successful relationship right now? Yes or no? If you are not in a successful relationship, can you give advice? Yes or no? Are you straight or are you gay? Yes or no? I mean, these are clear things. When someone clearly says, well, Kevin Samuels is gay, so he can't give advice. Kevin Samuels had multiple failed relationships, so he can't give advice. Kevin Samuels had issues with his children, so he can't give advice. My thought process is he's the perfect person to give advice. Tell me what you did so I ain't got to do it. Tell me the hardship that you went through so I ain't got to go down that same road. Are you fucking stupid? I want you to think about this. You know how many people get out of jail? Listen to me. You know how many people get out of jail and they said, I used to be a gangbanger. They get out and now they want to talk to the youth and say, don't do what I did. Don't do what I did. So do we tell them, well, you was locked up, so you can't talk to the youth and teach them nothing? Cynthia G, you're canceling yourself and you don't even realize it. Can someone who has experience with something, whether they were good at it or bad at it, can they tell you what they did? Yes. They can give you their opinion. They can give you their insight. They can give you what they learned, their life experience. They can give you all that so you don't make the same mistakes. They can do that. So to talk about a man's sexuality, to talk about his failed relationships, it means nothing based on the message. What is the message? He either tells you to level up, get your credit right, instead of worrying about what you bring to somebody else's table, bring your own damn table, pull your pants up, act like a man. I'm with that. I'm with that. Don't be walking around like you got a big dick and you got small goddamn man tendencies. Let that shit level out. Okay, cool. I understand that. He telling women, hey, bro, look, whoa, pump your brakes. I know Instagram got you a little hype, you got some followers or whatever, but listen, level up for real. Have a real self-esteem in real life. If you can't walk outside without your eyelashes on, without your makeup on, without your hair on, and be confident, then what you need to do is get your confidence up. If a man can't tell you that, then you ain't trying to hear logic. You're not trying to hear reason. What you're trying to do is condemn anybody that's promoting a narrative that makes you look bad. That's what it is. And you're scared that things are catching on. Can you imagine somebody saying, I don't date women that have children. I don't date single mothers. And that message gets out there, and guess what? Cynthia G falls into that category. So automatically, Cynthia G is off the table. You'll feel a certain type of way. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a video. You're going to get a petition started. Not that she did, allegedly, right? You're going to start doing all of these things to speak out against something that affects you. That affects you and who you are. A lot of people are average at best. A lot of people are not high value no matter how you look at it. Whether it's in the projects, the suburbs, social media, face-to-face, real life, college, they just not high value, period. It doesn't take Kevin Samuels. See, here's the thing. Kevin Samuels, I don't know if he coined the phrase. I don't know if he got it from somebody else. I have no idea. The fact of the matter is, whether we call it high value, whether we call it whatever, high class, whatever we want to call it. The fact of the matter is you use whatever verbiage you want to use. The fact of the matter is it's a status. It's a status of success. It's a status of intellect. It's a status. And either you got it or you don't. You heard of white collar, blue collar? I mean, it's a status. So either you got it or you don't. If you can't have a conversation without playing in your motherfucking phone, you ain't got it. Huh? If your credit score ain't over fucking 730, you ain't got it. If you still renting for some reason and you ain't paying yourself, that means you have your own home, you got properties, you invest in it, you ain't got it. It's a certain status and criteria. It's a lot of you YouTubers going live in studio homes, and you got a bunch of kids. Come on now. So if a man says, well, I ain't gonna date no woman that lives in a fucking studio apartment and she's a single mother. Oh, I feel a certain type of way. I'm about to make a whole bunch of videos about him. Cancel him. Can't. Well, they say a hit dog a holler. They say a hit dog a holler. If his rhetoric or the things that he is talking about does not fall on your lap, does not arrive at your doorstep, why does it affect you? Why does it affect you? When I have to call you names versus calling you your name, it shows an inconsistency in my thought process. Your name is Cynthia G. I want to call you Cynthia. I'm not disrespecting you. I'm not going to talk about your hair, your makeup. I'm not going to belittle you because I have a disagreement with you because of your opinion. My opinion is my opinion, but I don't have to disrespect you. And that's the issue, whether you black, white, or whatever color you are, or whatever race you are. It's like we have to disrespect one another in order to feel like we're empowered or we got one up on somebody. Calling that man gay when he is more successful on YouTube than you are looks odd. Because you're saying that him being gay is more important than his message. And what's being pushed is the fact that it's his message that's resonating with people. It's the message. You don't like the messenger. You don't like the fact that he showed up in all blue, all red, all white, all green. Okay, cool. The message is in the envelope. Open the motherfucking message. Read the message. Hear the message. If you don't agree with the message, talk about the message. But the man has nothing to do with the message. You want to put the man in front of the message, disregard the message because you don't like the man. Well, suppose I don't like women who wear a lot of makeup and hair and eyelashes and contacts and talk with a Valley Girl accent. Suppose I disrespected you and it had nothing to do with your message. Would that be fair? It wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be fair. And that's why I understand how people sit down and listen to these people who promote bashing black men and bashing black women as if what they're saying is so relevant and it brings you together. I don't want to hear nothing that tells me I need to hate and disrespect black women. I don't want to hear nothing that tells me I need to hate and disrespect the black community or black children. I don't want to hear nothing like that. You're not building anything. And see, you're playing on people's low self-esteem. You're playing by using this whole brainwashing tactic because here's the thing. What I said earlier, I said people are good at playing victim, but you know what? They're good at manipulating people. I know it's a lot of black women going through this. I know it's a lot of black men who, you know, they didn't have fathers and they don't really know how to be, you know, strong black men because they really never had that type of role model. So I'm going to play on the black community and I'm going to use my platform to pull all of these black people together and tell them how bad people who look like them are. If I'm going to pull people together, why wouldn't I say, hey, this is what we need to do to uplift each other, to build one another? I don't want to harp on the bad shit. You know what the bad shit is. Hell, you don't need to be online to do that. You can do it at the barbershop, the beauty salon. You can do that anywhere. Your children are going to hear the shit that you push out, and you're going to say, son, I meant everybody else except you, son. I love you. You are my king. You are a black man. You are a protector, a provider, a role model. You are a leader. But then somebody gonna say, bro, this your mama. Listen to this.
Story. We don't know. Unless the men that he's allegedly dealt with come forward, we don't really know how Kevin Samuel's relationships with men have panned out. But we do know he got a lot of cyber surfers and digital deep throaters who are literally ready to put them lips in that throat to work.
Wow.
And that's what they do. So, because of that Listen, because of that change.org petition, which, look, Kevin Samuels is helping to prove my point. So I don't know if there are some trash bag bandits who felt like I somehow started a petition. I would never do that. I would never do that because I actually use foresight. And I can tell.
No, you would never do that, because then all of those people that you saying that Kevin Samuels have followers or subscribers, they would then pay attention to you. See, it's okay to throw shots from the dark. And I notice a lot of these people, they throw shots in the dark. They don't come out front say, hey, I'm the person that got a problem with you. I'm the person that got beef with you. They throw shots from the crowds. That's what you're doing right now. The kitten heels and all of that disrespectful stuff you're talking about, you want to throw shots from a distance. You're not going to start the petition, or you're not going to say you started a petition, or you're advocating, or either if you signed the petition, you're going to say how warranted the petition is, how it's needed, etc., etc. But see, here's the thing. The issue is that, you know, if you do anything to promote people signing that petition, people are going to look at you like neutral parties like myself, people that look at things fair and impartial and say, well, if Kevin Samuels is an issue, then so is Cynthia G. So we need to add her name to this petition. That's just being real. If his narrative and his rhetoric is not good for the black community, it does not promote growth, it does not empower men and women, it does not promote anything great about for our children, and it doesn't bring us together, we need to get rid of it. We need to cancel it. We need to cancel all of this ratchet reality TV show. We need to cancel all of it. Then you would get swept up in that. You would get swept up in that.
You, Kevin Samuels is going to drive more black women away from black men than he's going to drive them to them. Mark my words. There will be more black women who divest from black.
I don't. Are y'all listening to this? Do you really feel Kevin Samuels' message is going to drive? Let me tell you something. Ladies, before Kevin Samuels kind of hit it big or whatever, I'm telling you right now, especially being a college grad, military veteran, all this other stuff, whatever, women appreciate men that have a certain look, carry themselves a certain type of way, right? Are they well groomed? Are they well spoken? Do they dress nice? Do they have a certain aura, you know what I'm saying, about themselves? Do they smell good? Kevin Samuels, if you take away all of the gay jokes and all the other stuff, Kevin Samuels presents himself very well, right? And a lot of women can resonate with that. A lot of women saying this is how we want our men to look. That's all factual. If people emulate, I say people, let's say men, emulate how Kevin Samuels looks, if they emulate that right there, it's already one step forward. So you're saying skinny leg jeans are out. So you're saying do-rags and blunts and cigarettes behind the ear is out. You're saying wearing dirty t-shirts, long ass oversized t-shirts is out. Okay. That is just going to force men to level up, to reach that next level. Okay, first we didn't know what it looked like. Now we know what it looks like. Okay, cool, got it, thanks. That's not going to force black men and women apart. It's going to bring the people that should be in a union together, that are serious about the relationship because they take themselves serious. Them as individuals, entrepreneurs, successful people, people who pride themselves in how they look, that don't promote ratchet behavior, that don't promote disrespect. Come on, Cynthia G, Miss Seattle. I lived in Seattle too. Let's talk. Let's talk. That's not going to push them apart. That's going to bring them together. The people that are serious about themselves, the people that know their worth because they have a sense of value. That's going to bring the people that should be together in the same position. That happy hour is going to look a whole lot different, Cynthia G. Let's talk.
Black men as a result of Kevin Samuels than anything. Every time he does a show, every time he opens his mouth, he proves me right. Kevin Samuels is going to lead black men into their retribution. Mark my word. He is going to lead black men right to where men of no color want them to be. That's what he's going to do. So I don't feel...
You sit down and you say that black men have no, they don't own anything, they don't bring any value, and you're saying that Kevin Samuels is going to do what? If we... Hey Cynthia, I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. If you feel that black men don't own anything, black men have no power, black men have no say-so, then what could Kevin Samuels possibly be doing? What could he possibly be doing that's not already been done? I'm just trying to make some sense of this. That's why I tagged you in this. And this is not to be disrespectful, but you're saying Kevin Samuels is going to be single-handedly responsible for doing X, Y, and Z. And my thought process is you're already preaching X, Y, and Z is happened. That black men are already at the epitome of the bottom. They're bottom feeders. They don't have any power, they don't have any say-so, and they're not valued. So what possibly could Kevin Samuels do any worse than that? That you promote how bad black men are. You do a very good job at doing that. You do a very good job at saying black men do not deserve redemption. Black men do not deserve respect or support. I'm just saying. Let's get back into it. Ricky Mann in the building.
The need to really care about anything that Kevin Samuels is doing or saying. I say let him rock. Let him live. He's simply highlighting the degeneracy, the abject 100% degeneracy that black men have fell into. And they fell into it because that is who they are. It just is what it is. If they
Joey, you're right, Joey.
Expose themselves via an LGBTQ kitten, then let them. Let them. But so in response...
Let me say this. First of all, salute to everybody in the chat. Let me say this to you guys real quick. This is Cynthia G's commentary. I'm using the fair use. And plus I'm pausing it and giving my commentary, so we should be good. But the fact of the matter is, Cynthia G, that she knows that there are a lot of people that were in broken relationships. There are a lot of unhealthy and unhealed people. That's who she speaks to. She doesn't speak to successful people. I'm sorry. She doesn't speak to people who have healed successfully. She doesn't. That's not what her message is for. The same thing with Derrick Jackson. He was more of a sex appeal object versus actually building relationships. He wasn't building relationships. What he was doing was he was gaslighting and simping for women that either were in broken relationships or had some type of low self-esteem and never really healed or whatever. So he was that epitome of what the tall, dark, and handsome thing that women looked at and said, okay, well, since he's stroking my ego, okay, cool, I'm gonna let him live. Cynthia G is pulling and preying on your heartstrings. You can tell by how she talks. You can tell about the energy she put into it or whatever. Because it's one thing to say there are men out here that don't live up to the standard of being providers, protectors, and role models. But it's another thing when you tailor your message only towards black men, but you never say these are the bad men, but these are the good men. You have to provide example. You have to provide balance. Cynthia G's platform is not balanced. Anyone that supports Cynthia G's message, I notice that their platforms are not balanced. It's not balanced. And if you're telling me that Kevin Samuels is pulling on people's heartstrings and only low self-esteem people would follow Kevin Samuels. Well, if the low self-esteem dude is saying get your credit right, invest in some properties, know your self-worth, you know what I'm saying, become an entrepreneur, you know, even though you fall off the horse, get back on, try it love, try it at success in reference to your job, your career, fathers be fathers, mothers be mothers. If he's saying that, and you're trying to tailor his message to saying he's going to be responsible for black women and black men not coming together, then what are you responsible for, Cynthia G? Are you responsible for black men and women coming together? Are you responsible for building the black community? Are you responsible for, if a person has a son and a daughter, listening to your message and showing love to the son and the daughter? Or is it just, I'm going to empower the women, I'm going to empower the young ladies? That's what's fucked up about the Me Too movement. You know how many young boys I talked to that were molested, Cynthia G? You know what the Me Too movement didn't do? Advocate for young boys. Can you imagine a motherfucking group of people sitting down and saying, we're only going to advocate for young ladies and young women and young girls? Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So your young boys are growing up with this mental disorder, displaced sexuality, a feeling of being violated, no one to turn to, no one to believe, no one to trust in them, no help. And we have women sitting online telling people that black men ain't shit. The statistics show it. And anybody who supports black men, they are now pick-me's and bed wenches. And your message does not need to be canceled. Kevin Samuel's message needs to be canceled.
To that petition, Fox Soul, they decided to talk about it. And I want to play you a clip because I find this to be very, very interesting. So I want to play this clip really quickly here. Hold on for a second. Let me find it. Because I think this is, look, at some point, the LGBTQ kittens are skeletons are going to start falling out the closet. But anyway.
Definitely ain't getting these million views off of men. Right?
Cynthia G, why are you so concerned if Kevin Samuels is gay or not? Honestly, why do you care so much if he's gay or not? Who's gay? Who do I know that's gay on social media? What is his name? Sean D. Wavy or something? What was that other name? The other guy name? I forgot their names. But how does that make you feel if you're a gay man or you're a part of the LGBTQ plus community to hear a woman call a man gay who's never came out and said, I'm gay? As if it's supposed to be an insult. It's supposed to be a sense of like a high disrespect. If Kevin Samuels comes out right now, ladies and gentlemen, let me school y'all real quick. Jesus Christ. If Kevin Samuels comes out right now and says he's gay, let me tell you what's going to happen. Okay? What do you think the LGBTQ plus community is going to do? The same thing they did for Lil Nas X and push his goddamn sales through the roof. Cynthia, do your homework. Stop talking to people who ain't got enough common sense or credibility to really bang with you intellectually. Let's stop it. Stop it. They're going to push that shit through the roof. If you think Kevin Samuels is big now, let him come out and say, yeah, you're right, I am gay. You're right. What do you think is going to happen, Cynthia G? If you think you can't touch him now, if he says I'm gay, do you first of all, some of the biggest executives in Hollywood is gay. Kevin Samuels is going to get a TV show, a radio show, something. The fact of the matter is, you don't realize you're pushing this narrative. He's gay, he's gay, he's gay, he's gay, right? Whereas as soon as he says he's gay and the LGBTQ community plus, they actually call it the alphabet community. And thanks for the person that put me up on that. The alphabet community, you don't think they're going to come after you? You don't think they're gonna cancel you once he says he gay and they adopt him in? Because I'm sure they're gonna adopt him in. Okay, now all that shit she was talking, now we're gonna go after her. That whole cancel this, because well, let me tell you something about the alphabet community that I've seen that is very powerful. They do a great job at canceling motherfuckers. You do your whole statistics and all the other stuff or whatever case to be. I want you to look at what I just said and look it up and tell me if I'm lying or not. That alphabet community does a great job at canceling motherfuckers and embarrassing motherfuckers. Just saying. Stop being so lost in your hatred or your disrespect or your discontentment or your pain. Or your pain trying to seek validation from everybody online that may feel like you. The thing about it is, you get 30 minutes to an hour or however long you're online getting your praise, getting your affirmation. Girl, you right. You even got men in there cheerleading. Oh, yeah. Whoa, you're killing them. And then when you get offline, you go back to your real life. But you ain't getting that. So then you start thinking, what else can I say so I can get back online and spread this narrative so everybody can hear what it is I got to say so I can be relevant, I can be important. I wonder, can Cynthia G be as important talking about positive black men versus negative black men? You want somebody to cheer for you. You want somebody to applaud you. What happens when those black women start to get in successful relationships with other black men? Does your narrative slow down? Does your rhetoric stop? Do they stop donating to you? Do they stop sharing your content and liking your post? Let's listen.
And to piggyback off of you, Al, I think a lot of women, it's in our DNA. I'm speaking as one. We think that we're different than everybody else. We'll call and be like, well, I'm not like them. He's going to sympathize with me, and then he's going to validate me when I tell him my story. And he's too sharp. He's sharp, he's smart, and he's quick. I will give him that. And
he's not sharp. It's just that the black women that he's speaking to are dumb. The man's not smart.
Wow.
It's just that
this man has spoken to CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, and you're calling these women dumb. These women also said, I make 6 figures, and you're saying that these women are dumb. Cynthia, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. Everybody he talked to had low self-esteem and was dumb. Hell, the majority. You gotta stop. And I don't understand why the people sit in your chat room or that you talk to and say, hey, whoa, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. He's not sharp. Well, if the lady obviously feels like he's sharp, he's not sharp. And I'm gonna tell you another thing, Cynthia, you have to be careful at the videos that you show. And I'm gonna tell y'all why. Everything that this lady just said, right? You regurgitated as if it was your own words to make yourself look good. I want y'all to go back and listen to what Cynthia G said, and I want you to listen to what this caller just said in reference to the women that's calling in thinking, okay, well, he's going to treat me different. You just said the same thing. So if you're going to take somebody else's talking points, at least tell them where you got it from, which that's where you got it from just now with this caller is, but you feel like you can't articulate it as good as she can. So now you're going to let her talk, then pause it, and then downgrade and disrespect what she's saying in praise of Kevin Samuels. I'm good at this. I'm good. Hey, Taz, I'm good at this, Taz, and I show my face. I'm just saying, y'all pull up.
black women, again, when you're not doing any vetting, when you don't have to prove or show anything, then yeah, they're going to be unprepared, because black women are not coming up there to debate with him. They're coming up there to be validated. So it doesn't have anything to do with him being sharp. It has to do with black women's mindset. But anyway, let me continue because I don't got that much time.
He lays them out every time. They're not prepared to go against him because he's been doing his thing that he does for a very long time. And might I add, you're calling and seeking relationship advice from a twice divorced
Sissy.
man. From a twice divorced.
Now, this is the part I want you guys to listen to. And I let you hear that first part so you can hear it in context. Funky Dineva is about to speak. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with Funky Dineva, just type his name into YouTube. Funky Dineva is a self-proclaimed gay man. He's very big on YouTube. He's now working with Claudia Jordan on Fox Soul. So a lot of people is probably very, very familiar with Funky Dineva. So this is a man who's in the LGBTQ community. And I want you to listen to what he says about Kevin Samuels. I want you guys to listen to what he says.
Okay, play it. Shit, fuck.
Legs crossed, fanny pack, Gucci wearing sissy. I said it. He's a sissy, a big one. He's a big sissy. Y'all ready to take advice from a man that wear Gucci's fanny packs strapped across him? Oh, sure, that sissy couldn't tell me the time. Go on and go to the next thing now. The lawyers be calling us when we get off the phone. Y'all thought he was sick.
Do y'all think that Kevin?
So, Cynthia G, you making yourself look bad. You making yourself look bad. You clearly don't like him, so you provide all of these names, call him all these names. So since you don't feel like your names are resonating or hitting hard, you found somebody else to call them names that do a better job than you. Nobody's attacking his message because he's wearing Gucci or Louis Vuitton flip-flops or handbags or whatever he's wearing. That has something to do with his message. And that's what you choose to promote. But nobody should cancel you. Okay. Okay.
Samuel?
Yes! He's a sissy. He's a big sissy. A big one. A big one.
Before she even get the full sentence out, do you think he's in the LGBTQ community? Do you think he likes men? Do you think he hates women? This man who is in the community is saying yes, he is. This man is telling you yes, he is.
So what? What the fuck? Who cares? Whatever you do, ladies and gentlemen, whatever you do inside the fucking home is your motherfucking business. If you sleeping with men, boys, bulls, dogs, cats, that's your business. I ain't in there. I ain't holding the fucking camera and the lights and giving you Gatorade. Oh yeah, you got one more round left. I don't care. Why do you care, Cynthia? If you don't want this man, you don't value a black man, you don't care, why do you care? Why do you care? Why go find another black man who says I'm a part of the alphabet community? And obviously he has some type of issue with Kevin Samuels. Why are you promoting that? Bruh, I don't, maybe it's just me. Maybe, I guess when you have things going on in real life, certain things you just don't care about. Certain things you just don't care about. And I'm hoping that something resonates. I understand, Cynthia G, this is how you make your money. And I really wish that these content creators just come out and say, bro, I'm just saying this for entertainment. I don't believe this shit. I don't believe this shit. Because a lot of these are self-proclaimed geniuses, self-proclaimed gurus and debate kings and queens. And I'm just like, common sense can debunk all of that shit you're talking about. We don't care. As long as when I go to my bank account, I'm good. I go to my house, I'm good. My car's still running, cool. My kids are good, cool. The person I'm sleeping with straight, cool. My job is great, good. My health is great, good. Is the gym still open? Okay, good. Wi-Fi house, cool, good. We still traveling, cool. What property did I just buy? Everything good? The contract going through, cool, good. I don't give a fuck who's sleeping with Kevin Samuels. Why do you care? Why do you care?
Do you think he likes women?
No, he does not. It's obvious that he doesn't. First of all, he hates.
Allegedly.
He hates. I ain't alleged nothing. He hates women because no man is this preoccupied with women's business. Okay, including my gay ass who sits and watch reality TV all day.
Okay. If you choose as a woman to address men, right, then rightfully so, men are going to address you. That's how it is, right? If you choose as a woman to say, I'm going to address black men, then rightfully so, those same black men are going to address you. It's just facts. That's facts. Now, if you say that black women are going to talk to other black women and we're going to empower each other both emotionally, financially, mentally, we're going to build our self-worth. We're going to make these women entrepreneurs and successful and get ready for marriage and actually heal from their broken relationships. So that way when they meet their mate, whether it's going to be a man or a woman, they're going to be at a high level of self. If that's what you're doing, but if that's not what you're doing, if you're trying to gather up all women that have been hurt, all women that have been in some type of abusive relationship, all women that have not healed, all women that pride themselves on, I'm going to date outside the race because I find it to be much better. They're more, they're smarter, they're this, they're that, they didn't put all of these labels and caps on everything outside of black men is better. Just because they're white, not just actually because they have any type of status, but just because they have white skin. If you're that type of person and that's what you're doing and you're gathering everyone up, you are toxic. You are the problem. You pride yourself on calling people names, disrespecting people because of their sexuality, and then trying to promote it for content. That's a shame. And when people say they'll do anything for $1, this is what we're doing. Can you imagine Cynthia G having children, a son or a daughter, sitting online, spewing out hatred, and then saying it's factual because you found some gay guy to say that Kevin Samuels is X, Y, and Z? And why are y'all relevant again? Let's get to it.
I'm not even that preoccupied with women and what they do and what they are and analyzing a woman and who cares? Like if you're a man, who cares?
Good point.
See,
they're jealous of him.
I don't know. Listen,
possibly.
I don't have a gaydar. I can't tell you all of that. But what I tell you is that the man is short of brilliant. He understands how.
So that was how Reno speaking.
Hold on, wait. Every time somebody says something positive for him, she paused it. But when they were disrespecting him, she played it. Like I said, Cynthia G, you're not balanced. You're not balanced. If somebody is going to say, well, tough love, I don't like the fact that you use your hands when you're speaking, right? And that's the narrative they want to push. However, somebody says, yeah, he uses hands, but you know what I'm saying, he makes a lot of great points. You don't want to hear the fact that he makes a lot of great points. You only want to hear the bad stuff. That makes you toxic. That makes you a narcissist. Sorry, if we're going to cancel Kevin Samuels, we must also cancel you. That's just fair. That's fair. And for those people who cheer for you and root for you, I don't want to see you fall. I don't. But if you're going to talk to black men, it's only right that this black man is able to address you. And the black man that either supports you or don't like you, my thing about it is, let's stop all the name calling. Let's sit down together and actually work some shit out. I'm not telling you to lead me as a black woman, and I'm not telling you that everything is going to be kumbaya and we're going to agree to everything. But I'm telling you, we don't have to be at odds. I'm not going to promote other women over black women, because here's the thing. Everybody has grown up in different places, got different standards and different morals. There's black people who don't like rap music. There's white people who don't like classical music. I mean, depending on who you are, you have to get to know people for people. Just because you have a certain skin tone don't make you fucking better. And for you to promote that shit like that's what's up, that's delusional. And you got young, impressionable people. You said your motherfucking self. Low self-esteem. So what are you doing to build it? Or are you building them into delusion? Because what's going to happen is they're going to meet somebody like myself or one of my children. And they're going to sit down and try to give this whole narrative how black men ain't shit and da-da-da-da-da-da. And then they're going to get ran down on in regards to intellectually. Well, let's talk about it. Well, I heard on Cynthia G that black men don't like to be fathers and black men don't like to be in homes and black men that... What black men are you hanging around? Listening to someone that spews out hatred for people who look like them or from the same community is an oxymoron. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't know what this is. This is Tough Love. I'm Mario J. I normally say at this particular time to adult up, but I'm telling you right now, it's time for a change. It is time for a change. You know, hopefully you guys don't think I sat here and the whole time bashed Cynthia G. That was not my intent. I tagged a couple people because I want to hear their response. And I'm hoping that it's not about jokes and disrespect when they respond back. I'm hoping that they listen to what I say. Listen to what I'm saying. Is it time for us to start building together? Is it time for us to start working together? Should we be past all of the name calling and finger pointing? Because I have not seen not one man, not one woman, or one race, or one community that is perfect. Now adult up. Peace. I'll holler at y'all.